այսօր իմ հյուրն է Եվրամիության արտաքին գործողության եվրոպական ծառայության գլխավոր քարտուղարի քաղաքական հարցերով տեղակալ Enrique Moran. Welcome to Armenia, Mr. Mora. So it's your first visit to our country as the Deputy Secretary General of the European External Action Service for Political Affairs. Can you please tell us the aim and the agenda of your visit?
Thank you. First of all, thanks for welcoming me. It's my first visit in this capacity. Before that, I was sometimes here as a Spanish political director. But again, it's really a pleasure and a privilege to be here as political director of the European Union. The reason for my visit, the main reason, is to launch the political and security dialogue between the European Union and Armenia. It's the first time we are going to have this. This dialogue is a very important one, and it's another show of to what extent we are really interested in our bilateral relationship. I will also have the opportunity, I hope, to see the Foreign Minister, Mr. Mirzoyan.
And how do you assess the current level of Armenia EU bilateral relations, the implementation process of the Armenian EU Comprehensive and Enhanced Partnership Agreement?
I think, frankly speaking, that we had never had such a good relations. We have never been so close, Armenia and the European Union, as we are now. As you mentioned, 5 years ago already, we signed this Comprehensive Partnership Enhanced Agreement. It's a very wide range, comprehensive agreement of many different things. We are implementing it, and we are the first donor in cooperation to development in Armenia. We have now decided to deploy a civilian mission in Armenia. So we are, again, in a very close relationship. We are concerned about the situation. We want to cooperate. We want to be on the Armenian people and understanding and helping. And this is basically what we want to do.
And as you mentioned, political and security dialogue is launching between Armenia and the European Union. What does such a dialogue mean for bilateral relations, and what will be its priorities?
These dialogues are basically to try to understand the other. When you are partners, and we really consider Armenia our partner in the Southern Caucasus, it's very important to know what they think, how they see the world, what are their foreign policy priorities, and also for them, for the other side, in this case Armenia, to understand what are our foreign policy objectives. So this is the basic idea for this dialogue. Also, this is an important part of security in which we exchange experiences. The European Union is a security actor, a security provider. We will be deploying here only Monday. The Foreign Affairs Council of the European Union, the Ministers of Foreign Affairs, they took the decision to establish a civilian mission with the objective of building confidence and reporting on the situation. So again, this is another factor that will be in this dialogue.
And Mr. Mora, the occupation of some parts of the sovereign territory of Armenia by Azerbaijan continues. The European Union, the European Parliament, and a number of international organizations and countries have condemned Azerbaijan's actions, demanding the withdrawal of troops from the territory of Armenia. However, Baku ignores these calls. Will the Armenian EU political and security dialogue somehow address the Azerbaijani occupation and its consequences?
What we share, the European Union and Armenia, without any doubt, is our quest for peace. We both want peace in Southern Caucasus. We want peace with Azerbaijan, and this is our basic objective. We have had an important mediation by the President of the European Council that managed to gather the two leaders. It's now unfortunate that they have not met since October last year. In the meantime, we have this paralysis in the Lachin corridor. We understand very well the humanitarian consequences. We are really trying to take care of the people, Armenian people there that are now isolated because of that. There are many things we have to talk about. Delimitation of borders. We can help on separating the forces. We can help on many issues, and this is basically our intention. At the end, our objective here is to have a peace and long-standing reconciliation between the two countries. We know it's very difficult. There are memories, there are heavy history, but we have to look ahead, and this is our objective.
And Mr. Mora, it's more than 40 days that Azerbaijan has occupied the humanitarian corridor connecting Artsakh to Armenia, as a result of which 120,000 people have found themselves in a humanitarian crisis. They have no gas and electricity, like food, and human rights and genocide prevention organizations warn that the situation is quite serious. How do you assess such an obvious attempt of ethnic cleansing by Azerbaijan in the neighborhood of the European Union?
We had been following from the very beginning of the blockade of the Lachin corridor the question. We have made the marches, a number of the marches with Baku. The High Representative himself has talked a number of times with the Azerbaijani foreign minister. We consider that the blockade has to be lifted as soon as possible. It is affecting the humanitarian situation of thousands of people, so we are working in that direction. At the same time, this the current arrangement is the consequence of the arrangement after the war a couple of years ago, and where we see there the Russian troops. They are not very effective, to say the least, and this is the situation. So we are very, very focused and keen on talking to the Azerbaijanis to lift this blockade, which again is making people suffer.
And as again mentioned, recently the European Union foreign ministers approved the decision to send a new EU mission, a civilian mission to Armenia for a period of 2 years. What staff and mandate will it have, and can we say that it's a new phase of the EU involvement in the region?
Basically, the objective of this mission is to observe and report on the situation on the ground, to create conditions for human security, and finally to contribute to our main objective, which is peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan, through this high-level dialogue mediated by the President of the European Council and the activities of the High Representative. We are considering, we will see, it has been approved on Monday. In principle, it would last 2 years. We were thinking about 100 monitors. We will see. We expect that it will be useful and will be adapting to the circumstances.
The restoration of Iran's nuclear process can have quite an important effect on Armenia and the region as a whole. As a new top negotiator, you participated in the Vienna negotiations. Now you are in contact with the Iranian side and your other partners. How would you assess the chances of a deal being restored?
Iran had a golden opportunity during the summer up to October to sign up to the agreement that would bring JCPOA, the nuclear agreement, back to life. We had an agreement on the text between Iran and the United States. The other 5 participants were also in agreement with the text, but the Iranians said that they wanted to solve a rather technical question with the agency in Vienna. They have not solved that question. The text is still on the table, but we cannot fool ourselves. What we have had in the summer is a quite important crackdown on the population of Iran. You remember the death of a young woman, Mina Mashi. She was dead in custody of the so-called moral police. The reaction of the society was what it was, in particular from women and girls, and they have responded with brutal repression. At the same time, it is beyond doubt that they are providing weapons, in particular drones, to Russia in Russia's aggression against Ukraine. So the whole political framework is now different than it was 6 months ago. Now things are more different and are more difficult. So we still think that JCPOA is the only way to deal with the nuclear program. We still think it's the best possible contribution to non-proliferation, but we need better political conditions for all members of JCPOA to go back, and in particular for the United States, who decided to get out of the agreement, and the Biden administration wants to come back. But again, It's a very difficult situation, but we still expect that UCPOA could be signed up sooner or later.
Thanks for the interview,
Thanks
Mr. Mora.
Thank you.
Այսօր իմ հյուրն էր Եվրամիության արտաքին գործողության եվրոպական ծառայության գլխավոր քարտուղարի քաղաքական հարցերով տեղակալ Էնրիկե Մորան։ Հաջողություն։